What we're doing here today is we're insulating our attic. This is blown insulation, sound, thermal, and fire. We've got to put about 17-18 inches of it in, and there's like 80 bags here. I don't know if we'll use all 80. Figure said 76, so I got a few extra just in case. But Mrs. W's got to stuff all these things in that machine. I'm going to yell to you when I get up there, and then we'll know if it's This is where we start having trouble. As you can see, it's coming out in globs instead of being blown out the way it should be. It turns out that there was a couple of bales that were kind of damp and they just didn't blow right. And we got this insulation about an hour and a half before we started blowing this, so it was nothing we did. It was wet ones that came from the store. This boardwalk that you see me walking down here at this point, I built this for access to get back through here, and once the blown insulation's on, you can't see the studs anymore, so you can't walk on the floor joists. I also made it 18 inches high to give me a reference of what thickness I need to be, and I use that as a gauge. I technically only need 16 inches, but I'm throwing a couple of inches extra on there. Hey, Cheryl? No. Yeah. Once the initial blast went in, I'm getting just spits and sputters. Well, we're back in business now, for a while anyways. I'm starting in the center because that's my height of 18 inches, and then I can eyeball it the rest of the way to determine whether I'm high enough or not. And here we come back into some clogs. Starting to get a little dusty up there. What I like about blown insulation is you fill up and over top of everything, including the floor joists, so you don't have that transfer of cold or heat through the joists themselves like you would if you put batt insulation in. I priced out using spray foam in the attic ceiling and the attic roof rafters. I'm sorry, but it was cost prohibitive. They were estimating about $20,000 to do that. I think we ended up somewhere around $1,400 with this blown insulation. Also, if you spray the roof rafters, basically you're heating the whole attic. This way you're only heating the house itself. They say it's not that much difference, but I believe that it probably is at least some difference. This is actually not a bad job to do, except for the dust. You just sort of fill in wherever. I had to walk out there and get that part. I didn't show that part because it's kind of dark back in there, so there wasn't camera wouldn't have filmed it that good anyways. I'm wearing the camera on my chest, and I'm not used to doing that, so sometimes I don't always get the best footage because I don't realize exactly where the camera's pointing. I think I got it pretty good by now, but at first it was pointing down too much, I think. Mrs. W definitely had the hardest job stuffing all those bales into that machine. I'm kind of sitting on the boardwalk just blowing things around. I don't know how well you can see it, but we have proper vents leading up the first 3 feet. That's so that we still have ventilation from the soffit vents. So I can fill against that, but it still leaves an airspace behind it. I also stuffed a little insulation right at the very end so it didn't go down into the soffit. You can see a couple pieces are laying down a little bit. I have a stick up there, right there, that I push that up in place before I blow the insulation. You got to make sure that you blow underneath everything, because you could conceivably get an air pocket if you don't, and then you don't have the insulation you should have. But you'll notice it's just a big blanket up there when I'm done. And basically no heat can get through that. In my opinion, it's a great way to do an attic if you're never going to use the attic. If you're going to use it for storage or anything like that, it's not going to work because you've got a foot of blown insulation over top of the floor joist, or ceiling joist in this case. And if you were to put a floor up here, it wouldn't work. But if you're not going to use it, it's a great way to do it because it just blankets everything. Those boxes you see like up in the upper left hand corner of the screen, that's where I have recessed lights. And I built those boxes around them and sealed them so that this blown insulation doesn't come down through the ceiling, through the lights and all that. Because this stuff will get any place, through any kind of gap. It'll work its way down. You don't want a house full of this stuff, I can tell you that. You can see here the amount of dust that's flying around up there. It didn't seem like it was that much when I was doing it, but looking at this film, I can see it a lot. This part's sped up a little bit, but it makes it look even worse.
Here he comes. The attic monster. Noah will have nightmares if he sees you. Good thing he's wearing a mask. Whew. Alright, take it off. Let's see if you're really alive. He's alive!
We're getting towards the end here, and I'm standing outside on a ladder blowing it in through the doorway. And of course I should have moved the light, but I didn't. Mrs. W had to crawl back through there to get it because I wasn't agile enough to do it. At this point we're basically done. I'm just using up what bale is left in there. Okay, so we got her finished. We have about 18 inches of blown insulation in here, which code requires 16. So I'm a little bit over, but that's okay. We did this all in one day, but it was a long day. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
No, it doesn't actually. Because the blue can't be there.
Unless you cut off the top. Well, sure it can.
No.
Oh,
Dan,
you're upside down is all.
I don't know what that was. Because I have two screws here, so.